I remember one of my daughter's teachers said, inch by inch is a cinch, yard by yard is hard, and mile by mile is an impossible trial, right? So if you break it down to inch by inch, that's why I like to break it down into the little step sequences. Then you're just learning, 5 different weight shifting steps. It's just 5 steps. And sometimes the steps are just walk forward, right, kick, walk back, left, right, left, touch. Hi, I'm Christy Grant, and you're entering A World Gone Good.
Well, hello, my name's Steve, and this is the place where we shine the light on everyday people making good happen each and every day. Welcome to World Gone Good. Hey, you, yes, you, we'd love for you, yes, you, to give us a quick rating and review wherever you are listening to this here good new episode. Take a moment, won't you, and share your thoughts each and every time we get a new rating and review. It helps even more people find us. Let's all get out there and share some good. Are you with me? We appreciate you taking the time to rate and review us. And as always, we say thank you. Okay, so did you know country line dancing is back in a big way in this here year of 2025? In a world dominated by digital interactions, people are actually craving face-to-face social experience. I know, what? What are you talking about? And country line dancing offers a fun and welcoming environment to meet up with friends, make new friends, bond over music, and trip over your own 2 feet while making complete fool out of yourself in the best way possible. This resurgence is being stoked by a growth in country music itself, as well as platforms like that there TikTok and Instagram spreading dance trends about. And it's even an effective and fun form of working out. It's true. Think about it. You move, get your heart rate going up, sweat a little bit, but maybe one of the biggest reasons it's good to kick up our heels is that it's accessible to everyone. You can be a seasoned dancer or a first-time beginner and jump on in and just have a good time. There's not even an ounce of pressure to have a partner because everyone becomes your partner. Just get in line and you'll see. Here comes today's good guest, Christy Grant from Kickin Country SB, ready to two-step the show away. So there are all kinds of guests that I go after for this show. And sometimes guests are like, hell yeah. And other times they're like, who are you? I want nothing to do with you. And then there are guests like today's guest who's like, wait, what? Where did you find me? Why would you want me on your show?
Yep.
Was that pretty accurate description there, Christy?
That was very accurate. Yes.
You've never been on a podcast before, have you?
I have not.
Exciting.
Yeah. Super exciting.
Great. This will either be the best first experience or the worst first experience.
Either way, it's the first experience.
It's like pizza. Even when it's bad, it's still pretty good. Okay, So let's start here. We are both in beautiful Santa Barbara, California. How long have you been in Santa Barbara?
I have been here since 1993.
Nice. What brought you here?
I got married here in 92, and my husband grew up in Buellton. And this was kind of close to family, but we both wanted to live in a town like where there was a college and where there were things to do. But I grew up in big towns and he grew up in small towns. So this was kind of the compromise. And it's beautiful. So who wouldn't want to be here, right?
It is the American Riviera. Thank you very much.
It is.
What big towns are you from?
I moved a lot when I was a kid, but mostly I grew up in the San Francisco area when I was younger and the Los Angeles area from like junior high and high school and went to college there.
Yeah, we're kind of similar. I grew up in New York, New Jersey, Phoenix, spent 20 years in LA, 3 years that I'd rather not discuss in Palm Springs. Um, Palm Springs. Oh boy, I hope nobody from listening. I hope the Palm Springs tourist community is not listening. Palm Springs, great place to visit. Absolute hell in the summer.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And we did the same thing. We started coming up here like every June to get out of the heat, and we'd live up here for a month.
Oh,
And then we're like, why don't we live there full time?
yeah.
And here we are.
That's great. I was born in New York City and spent a little time on the East Coast.
Oh, nice. See, it's all coming together. Now you have some passions. I'm willing to bet you like country music.
I didn't when I was younger, but I do now. Yeah. I never imagined that I would be a country line dance dancer, instructor, any of that. I grew up in kind of very diverse inner city areas. I grew up listening to R&B, hip hop. So when I was younger, country music wasn't my jam, but now I love it. And it's grown on me. I think it's also a lot more diverse of a music style now.
Yeah, it's not just all guys named Waylon.
Right. And it's not all twangy.
Right. It's not all about girls breaking up with you and dogs that you had to put down, or dogs in the back car, or dogs on the fire truck.
It's so funny because I thought it's not all about dogs anymore, but it is still a lot about girls breaking up with you.
Right. But at least women today get to give their side, like Carrie Underwood. I mean, I wouldn't get on her bad side.
They sure do. And there's some great female artists, right? They sure do.
Now, you have a dance background. You have a love of dance.
I have a love of dance and have danced all my life. Started out more with like Earth, Wind and Fire and R&B dancing, and then did some ballet. Like I've done a little bit of all different types of dancing, but I sort of fell into country line dancing not that long ago. Pre-COVID, a girlfriend asked if I wanted to go, to a club in town, and they did a lesson. And I was like, sure, I'll give it a try. And I got hooked pretty quick.
It's so interesting how everything sort of comes full circle, because that's kind of your joyful, happy place.
It is. It is I love moving my body to music and rhythms. I don't feel like it's exercise at all. And yet I'm sweating and breathing and, it's great. Country line dancing more so is pretty great for your brain because you have to remember the steps. And so for me in the beginning, that was the biggest challenge. I was used to dancing where you just free moved. But in country line dancing, you have to remember the steps. And so that was stimulating and something new and something exciting. So it's just a win-win-win. Super fun.
Were you ever self-conscious being out there, trying something new, putting yourself in the middle of a crowd that you're like, oh shit, everybody knows how to do this and I don't?
Yeah, sure. Everybody is. One of the things that I love about the line dancing community is they're pretty forgiving. They help you. Like the people next to you will be pointing which direction to go. There's no judgment. The music keeps going, so nobody stops and stares at you. It just keeps going. The crowd keeps moving. But I would do things like stand on the side and watch for a little bit and then be like, oh, okay, I think I kind of got this. And I would jump in and try to dance it. And I would get all turned around and I'd jump back out. I'd be like, okay, let me watch a little bit more. And then I would jump in and try a little bit more and get a little farther in it. And then the song would end and I'd go say to my friend, okay, I got about 50% of that, right? That's a win.
That is a win. Your husband, involved or not involved?
Not very involved, but a great guinea pig. So when I'm teaching, I like to teach to him first, because if I can get him to be able to do it, I can get most people to be able to do it.
That's true love. That is true love on his part.
It is. He's very supportive. He'll say things like, wait, that didn't make any sense. And he'll be like, oh, you don't do this. And I'll be like, oh, good. Thank you. I will explain it that way. You don't do this. You do this instead. So it's really helpful.
When did Kickin Country come to you as, I don't want to say a business or an organization or just a gathering? What was the spark? What was the moment?
Well, it's interesting. We went to the Elks Lodge, and my husband came with me, and there was a different person instructing, and he really is an organizer in town, but he teaches some, but he was teaching the dance, and I was trying to help my husband, and my husband was like, no, I'm not listening to you. I'm listening to the teacher. And I was like, okay. So I stood in the back. At one point, the organizer turned to me and said, is this right? And I said, I do it a little bit differently. And he said, how do you do it? And so I did it. And then I said, here's the counts to it. And he said, why don't you just keep going? So I ended up teaching the class.
Oh my God. How many people were there, roughly?
There were probably about 30 people there.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah, that's a lot of people. It was. And my husband turned to me when we left that night. He said, I know what you're going to do when you retire. You're going to teach country line dancing. And I said, oh, you're right. I am. But I haven't retired yet.
That is so wonderful because we talk about this a lot on the show of, paths and things that come to you. And somebody else might have just said, oh, no, it's your class. No, you got it. Oh, I don't want to take over, and like kind of pulled themselves back. But something in you said, okay, and go for it.
I knew him. I'm comfortable. I teach in other settings. So breaking things down in a way that I could learn it is easy for me to do for other people. So I was pretty comfortable, and it was a dance I knew well. So it was, yeah. And he was really open to it. I think if he had been like, oh, that's all. Okay, I got it. But he was like, why don't you keep going? So I was like, okay. There's a DJ in town called Skip Steckler, and he is cowboy country. And he was the DJ when I started line dancing before COVID. And he's great at getting people involved. And a couple times he had asked me, hey, somebody wants a teacher. Would you be willing to try? And I said, sure, I'd be willing to try. So he got me started and kind of brought me in and suggested to me that I try it. So when this other setting came up, I was like, yeah, I can do that.
Yeah. Was the name Kickin Country already in place?
Once I taught one or two different places, then people started to ask me to teach somewhere else. And the Downtown Santa Barbara organization is what they're now called, but they wanted to start a dance series on State Street. And they were doing a month of salsa, and they wanted to do a month of country line dancing. And so they called it Kickin Country. And so I was like, can I take that name? And they were like, sure. So I looked online, and Kickin Country was gone, but Kickin Country SB for Santa Barbara was available. So I took it, and we called that event Kickin Country. And then it just sort of became my business name too.
Now, so everybody knows listening, State Street is our main street, our great street. It's where so much of the action, the tourists come to. That's where all the shops are and all the restaurants. And we have a lot of things that are normally going down there at different times. Like there's a farmer's market, actually two farmer's market now. There's the Saturday morning one that moved over there from the parking lot. That's now, I think, going to be turned into a police station or something. And then there's like a Monday or Tuesday night one, isn't there?
Yeah, Tuesday night.
Yeah. And that's a much smaller one. And that's mostly vegetables, which is all good. The one on Saturday morning is like everything you can imagine. And, and it's pretty cool. So things are constantly happening out there. So people can understand this a little bit more. I don't want to say shut down a section of State Street. You take over a section of State Street. Is this one of the areas that's kind of blocked off now, or?
So the street as a whole, as you know, is now blocked off, not to traffic. It's just pedestrian. And there's some bike path ways on the street as well. And the Downtown Santa Barbara Improvement Organization schedules events and things to happen downtown. And so they had done a month of salsa and they brought me in, and they have different restaurants or bars or different places downtown sponsor the events. And you do the event in front of those things. So for us, Best Barbecue is a restaurant downtown, and Apna is an Indian food restaurant right next door. And they both sponsor the country line dancing event. So we dance in front of those restaurants and we thank them for sponsoring the event, and we tell people about the restaurants so they can go, enjoy the restaurants. They have great food there. And then we dance in front of that on the street, and we block it off so that the cyclists don't go through the crowd. And then we just dance on the street there. And it's a blast. My favorite dancing is dancing outside.
That's amazing. Now, when did this start? When was the first one that was outside?
The first one that I did was October of, I think, 2023. We did October, and then we did April of 2024, and then we did September 2024, and then we did April 2025, and we'll probably do October 2025. So we do it once in the fall and once in the spring. And on different months, they either have salsa, or in the summer, they have live bands. They just sort of keep the downtown area hopping and things for people to come see and do. So it's super fun. But they reached out to me and I was like, yeah, that sounds fun. Let's give it a try. And it started small and it has just every time grown and grown and grown. So I think the last session, there were over 250, 300 people out there dancing.
Wow.
Yeah, it was great. It was great.
Now, let me ask you this. You're getting all different levels of people. You're spending 2 hours doing this. There's a first hour of lessons and then a second hour of let's go for it?
Yes. So there's a pretty good sized country line dance community in Santa Barbara. And so we tell everybody and publicize it to everybody. I teach lessons in other places and I tell all my students about it and they all come out. I teach a beginning lesson each week from the 6 to 7 o'clock hour. So anybody walking down the street can join. We do a beginning lesson where everybody learns the beginning lesson. And then we put music on. Often it's dance music. It's music of dances that I've taught in my classes. So the people who have come, the more advanced dancers come and they're helpers to the beginning folks, and they spread all out throughout the crowd and they help. I have some bright bandanas and they like tie a bandana around their wrist or in their pocket or around their neck. And then other people know that those are people that kind of know how to do country line dancing and will help them. And then each week we do a new dance. So even the person just walking down the street, if they come back next week, they can learn a second dance. And then if they come back the third week, they can learn a third dance. And we always start the night with the dances that we've been doing in this month's series. So by the end of the month, if it's this in April, there were 5 Wednesdays in April. So we did 5 weeks. So at the end of the dance that we taught on the 5th week, we then played the dances from the first week, the second week, the third week, the 4th week, and then the 5th week again. So we kind of get them in there and get them redoing them every week so that people remember them and can partake in the dancing and have fun. Like to be able to dance 5 different dances, each for like 3 minutes each, you're dancing for a while and it just makes it a lot more fun. And then the intermediate class or the local dancers who've been dancing longer than me know all kinds of other songs, and we put some of that music in. And some people, jump in and jump out like I did when I was a beginner. They're trying to learn, or they stand off to the side and they're trying to catch on and they pick it up. Once you've started doing it, a lot of the steps are in multiple dances. And you can start to identify the steps. You just have to remember the sequence that they go into this song. So the more you do it, like anything, the better you get at it and the more you can enjoy it and have fun with it. And so, yeah, we usually have, we start with up to like I said, the last one, maybe almost 300 people learning the beginning dance. And at least half to 3/4 of them knew the dance from the week before and the week before that. And then the second hour, the dances get more advanced. And some people like to watch and see, where they could be if they keep doing it. And others have been dancing for so long, they love the opportunity just to dance these dances. And we always have to tell people we have to shut down. I'm sorry, it's 8:00. And they're
Go
like,
home. Tracy Ullman used to do that at the end of her shows. Go home, go home.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you, you have a bullhorn, you have a microphone. How are we hearing all this? Are you in a raised area yourself?
I am not on a raised area.
Okay.
I'm just on the street with them. I usually stand on one side. What I like to do is demo the dance. So we put the dance on and I do maybe the sequence 2 or 3 times to the music. And often I'll go in the middle and just have everybody circle all around so that just get anywhere where you can see.
Yeah, but you got 300 people circling around you. Come on.
When the lessons start, people come late. So there aren't 300 people at the beginning, but there's 300 people in the middle, maybe,
Right.
So I show them the dance and then we break down the steps. So maybe this dance has 5 different steps in it and little connectors. So we start out just by, I'm calling out the step. You're going to step on your right, then you're going to cross your left over your right, then you're going to step on your right and you're going to tap your left next to it. And then let's try that. And we all try that. And then we're going to do it to the left. You're going to step on your left, cross your right over the front of it, step on your left again and put your right next to it. And they do that. And so then we go back and forth and do it each way. And then I like to have us turn and face the different directions because most country line dancing dances where you start at, if we were on a clock, maybe you start at 12 o'clock and you do a sequence of steps. And when you end, you're facing 3 o'clock and you start right at the beginning again. But now you're facing a different direction. And if you've only practiced it facing 12 o'clock, you get a little confused when you're trying to do the same thing, but you're facing 3 o'clock. And then you end and you're facing 6 o'clock and you start again. And then you end and you're facing 9 o'clock and you start again. And then you're back to 12 o'clock. So I like to have us practice those little segments facing all the different directions. And then we go through a couple steps of segments. And then we start at the beginning and we do the first count of 8 and we do each of the walls. We call them walls, but the different directions. And then we do the second count of 8 and we do the different directions and we add them together. And then we do the third count of 8 and the fourth count of 8. And I think that practicing it in your body is one of the best ways to learn. So they don't actually have to see me, and distributed throughout the crowd are helpers. And a lot of the steps repeat. So maybe it's a step that we did 2 weeks ago, and that's in this dance now. So if you break it down into manageable segments, I remember learning how to write a paper, right? Some people are like, I can't write a 20-page paper, but you can write 5 4-page papers, and really good teachers break it down and help you write 5 4-page papers. So we try to do it that way.
I just told this story recently on here to somebody who was like blown away when I explained it, because I write novels and people go, oh my God, how do you write a novel? And I tell them, actually, you can write a novel if you write one double space, well, it's a space and a half, 1 page a day. Because at the end of the year, if you did that for 365 days, you'd have a 365-page novel, which is already about 60, 65 pages over what you need. So you can actually take 2 months off of writing. But if you think about it, you just have to do it in little pieces. And then it's like, it's bite-sized. And when it's that, it's not a mountain to climb. And I wanted to ask you that this, to some people, feels like a mountain to climb. And I know that sounds silly.
No.
But it's like, that's too much for me, right?
Yeah, it is. So there's a couple keys. I remember one of my daughter's teachers said, inch by inch is a cinch, yard by yard is hard, and mile by mile is an impossible trial, right? So if you break it down to inch by inch, that's why I like to break it down into the little step sequences. Then you're just learning, 5 different weight shifting steps. It's just 5 steps. And sometimes the steps are just walk forward, right, kick, walk back, left, touch. We do that 5 times. Everybody can walk forward and everybody can walk back. So it's just, I think, breaking it down small enough that people aren't overwhelmed. Like you were saying, I think, oh my gosh, you write novels? But you're right. I could write 1 page. I don't know if I could write a page every day.
It's like anything, though. It's just what you said. It's like, you're not going to be, buff a bodybuilder tomorrow if you go to the gym 1 time, but you can just start going to the gym and watching what other people do. That's, I started doing that when I was 19 years old, which was a long time ago. And I just watched what everybody else was doing. And when that person was done, I just went and did what they did. And you slowly start listening, listen to your body, listen to yourself. But something you have going on that I can hear it in your voice, and everyone listening to hear it in your voice. You're joyous about this.
Oh, I love it. It is so much fun. You get all those endorphins from exercising, right? But you don't even realize you're exercising. And if we start small, we feel a sense of accomplishment. And it's an individual thing that we do with a lot of other people. So I can go whether my husband wants to dance or not, or whether my girlfriend's free this night or not, or you can just go show up and there's other people there wanting to do the same thing. I love it. I love it. I highly recommend it to everybody because it's so much fun. And I have all these new friends and this new community, and the age range and the cultural range. It's just so diverse. I just can't praise it enough.
And you just hit our word of the year. Our word of the year is community. And you are doing something where you're doing something you love and bringing out the best in people and creating a community that gets excited about coming together.
Yeah. And they support each other and they help each other and they laugh together.
And they put their phones down except when they're filming so they can show everybody how cool they are.
Yep. And we all mess up. I tell them I mess up too. And then when I mess up, they all laugh at me. It's great. Like there's no one way to do it either. Like everybody, once the dance has been learned, then people start stylizing it and somebody does an extra clap here or a little spin there, and then other people try that. So it's very organic.
We close these shows with 3 questions. Don't panic. You know the answers. Question number 1, for everybody in Santa Barbara and or visiting the Santa Barbara area coming our way, where do they find you? How do they get on the street and boot it up?
Great question. The easiest way to find me is through Kickin Country SB on Instagram. Also, downtown Santa Barbara advertises when we're going to be doing dancing, when we're going to be doing country line dancing. And then I teach lessons both at the UCSB Recreation Center, and they're open to the community and to UCSB students. And I also teach downtown at the Carrillo Recreation Center. And I have a link on my Instagram to sign up for the Carrillo Rec Center. And when the UCSB classes open there, once they are only in the fall quarter, winter quarter, and spring quarter. But when those open up, I put the links on my Instagram there as well.
And the final 2 questions in our 3-question package can go back to anything you want to say. Can be about this, can be about anything. Question number 1 is this: who inspires you?
Ooh, great question. A lot of people inspire me. When I started taking line dancing, there was a woman named Dorothea who taught the lessons, and I took her class. And recently Dorothea retired, but she asked me to take over her class. So she's like my mentor. Jose is a guy in the community who knows every dance and has been dancing probably multiple days a week for 20 years and always helps people. And then the young students inspire me. When I was in high school, I would go to a dance club. There wasn't alcohol there, but just hundreds of high school students would come and dance. And what I love about that is it gave them something healthy, fun, connecting to do. And the UCSB class is a piece of that. But I love that on State Street, there are all ages. There are young kids, there are college kids, there are high school kids, there are grandmas, there are grandpas, everything in between. And our community coming together to have fun, multi-generational, multicultural, it's just so inspiring. So being out there with everybody inspires me.
And the final question is not a question. It is a statement to finish. Finish it any way you like. This is it. Tell me something good.
Oh, there's so much good in the world. You just have to look for it and turn away from all of the drama. There is so much good. Look around. You'll see it happening everywhere.
Thank you, Christy, for helping us kick up our heels by sharing your good. Next time on World Gone Good.
A God wink is when you go through something that you think, why would God do this to me? And when you get through it, you realize He had your back the entire time. And, you know, it's about the most difficult concept in life, which is an F word. And that F word is faith.
Dr. Stephen Drabek worked with cancer patients and in hospice care for the greater part of his career. And he has a very unique approach to his care. It's called empathy. You see, when he was 30 years old, just finishing his residency, he received a devastating diagnosis of cancer himself. He definitely believed in the medicine, but he also embraced his own faith, and he writes all about it in his #1 Amazon best-selling book, The Comfortologist, a physician's empathetic perspective on compassion, caring, and pain relief. We have an incredible conversation together about all those things and much, much more on our next all-new episode. Until then, be good.